Hey everybody, welcome back to Everyman Prepping. And we're about 3 weeks away from the end of 2023, going to start 2024. And you hear a lot of talk, from people saying, oh, 2024 will be here, it's going to be better or worse. They always look forward ahead. This magical change of the year from one to the next always gives either people hope or other feelings. So before we start the news stories I have, I just want to know if in the comments below, right, what is your prediction or anticipations for 2024? Is it get better in the world? Do we start to mend the fences, come back from inflation and all that? Or does it just get worse? Do we get into more war, more food issues, more inflation, more financial problems, other issues? So I kind of want to see where everybody stands. You think it gets better or are we getting worse? Or for those out you think that we're just on the same old path and one of those that never happens. Nothing happens. Nothing ever happens. Just the same old, same old. So write that in the comments below. Just want to see where you're all getting at, get a sense of the community we're at right now. But let's go ahead and get on here with some of these stories I have for you really quickly. Just get a pulse of what's going on, today's news going out there. And this happened last night. I don't know if you saw it or not, but there was a home in D.C. that spectacularly blew up. What happened is that some officers came to the scene of a house in Arlington County, and they became aware of a man who had fired a flare out the window 30 to 40 times. When I first read that, the first thing I'm thinking is, where are the police in the first place? Why did they have to be called? If someone's shooting a flare 30 times out of the window, you think that, you can see, let me put it down here. This is the street. You'd think, someone would see it and come check out what's going on, some authority figure. But in this day and age, like I said, the police are there to take the report after the crime happens. They're not really there to prevent anything from happening. I know there's a lot of good out there. Sometimes they get lucky and that happens, but this day and age, the police are basically there to clean up the mess after stuff happens and maybe take someone to jail. Maybe not, depending on, a lot of things these days. Anyway, so this dude's shooting a flare. Second of all, who has 30 to 40 flares in their house? The neighbors already said this guy was a recluse, paranoid, thought his neighbors were spying, but just check out this video I thought I'd play for you. This was a spectacular explosion. They said he fired a flare. Look at that. Just decimated the house. If you're the neighbor, you probably have broken windows. Who knows what other problems you have. But as you can see, and we'll just replay that again. I'm thinking he opened up a gas valve, let it, fill up the house, shot the flare inside the house. There's rumors he's still alive. The authorities came out and said, no, we found him dead. How are you going to find someone that? He's probably scattered all over the neighborhood. But anyway, thought that was just a very interesting thing that happened last night. Who knows what really happened? We'll never know. Was he, some clandestine thing? Were they trying to cover up evidence? Because a big explosion like that would sure as heck cover up a lot of evidence for something. Moving on from that, we have Venezuela voting 95%, kind of like those referendums in that Russia did in the Ukraine at the 4 territories, saying that they were 95% all voted to join Russia. Well, Venezuela said that they did a referendum, and 95% of the people in Venezuela said they should go over here to Guyana and take this section called Esquibo. They should just take it back because it's kind of really Venezuelans. It's not really Guyana's. We'll just kind of take it back and it'll be ours. It's a ethnic dispute, an old, land dispute. No, that's not what this is. I don't want you to think what it is. In my opinion, this is about commodities, just like most wars, just like most things going on. People that have the commodities are the ones that are going to come out ahead in this world that we're in. So what does this section of Guyana have? It has a ton of oil. It's got gold mines, silver mines, a lot of it. So this is a rich part of Guyana, very rich, if they can get it out of there. And I think that's what Venezuela wants. Brazil's kind of saying, they're putting their troops on alert saying, no, we don't think you should do that. Here's the border between Venezuela and Guyana. So we'll see what happens, see if they actually bring force to try to do it. But once again, this is not a, we're trying to save the people, get our people back. This is we need the silver, gold, and oil commodities. We're just trying to, hoard all the commodities. Every country's doing it. Venezuela's going to take the opportunity to do this now. Moving on from that, we have this crazy story. So there's the Sellafield nuclear site in United Kingdom that was hacked. They're saying Russia and China hacked it. It says, how do they know Russia and China hacked it? It's great to blame them because why not? They're the big bad wolf, right? They can say, hackers will say, they left footprints. They used certain code. They did certain things that they do. Well, that could all be, duplicated. That could all be faked. The U.S. could have hacked this. Why not? False flag. The UK could have done it to themselves. Another party. We're not going to really never know who really did it, but they're blaming Russia and China because they say they're closely linked. They don't know who did it, but whoever it was closely linked because of their spidey sense, I guess. Anyway, it says here, the Guardian also discovered that the authorities don't know exactly when the IT systems were first compromised. But sources said the breaches were detected as far back as 2015. 9 years ago, these things were hacked. They've had access for 8 or 9 years. This is a gigantic nuclear facility with plutonium, waste. They catalog it. They keep it all there. So if your systems were hacked for 8 or 9 years, how much of that stuff is really accounted for? How much was maybe sold off, lost? It's now becoming dirty bombs or used for something else or went to another country for their nuclear weapons. Who knows? And they don't even know if the malware was eradicated. This is some of the site here. And then if we go down here, you can see from above, it's a pretty good sized nuclear site that's been hacked for 8 years. And this, what I have highlighted here, says, the site has the largest store of plutonium on the planet. And this is pretty funny what it says. And it's sprawling rubbish dump of nuclear waste from weapons programs and decades of atomic power generation. So you need plutonium for nuclear warheads. Largest site. It was compromised. Could they have faked inventories? Could they have sold some of that off? Yeah, everything's possible. So just because it's nuclear, high-tech, everything's compromisable these days. Trust nothing, basically. So who knows what's come of that? But the fact they're announcing it now means, well, if something nuclear happens, they can say, well, we kind of told you this happened, so that's why. Next, this is what I find interesting. They released the hostages, and the Hamas did, and they were like this. They were smiling. The Israelis were happy. They were shaking hands, saying thank you to the Hamas hostage. Very weird, right? Well, Israel's coming out and saying, there's a doctor saying that they were drugged. He said they sedated the hostages with tranquilizers like Clonex. I didn't look it up, but maybe it makes you kind of drunk feeling. Basically, you're high, so you're happy at anything. Let me show you this video because, as you can see here, they're happy. This guy's giving a thumbs up. He's pointing to him. The ladies in the back are saying, hey, you're smiling. They're all happy. She's, giving them well wishes. All except this lady here on the left. She's the one that's kind of, I think, really not into it, saying, just get me out here. You guys are crazy. Why are you so happy? But maybe they are drugged up. Maybe they said, if you don't act this way, the remaining hostages are going to pay for it. I don't know. Then Hamas came out and said, well, some of the Palestinian refugees, prisoners that were released, had broken arms. There was a kid, they said he had broken hands. So it's war. People are going to lie. Horrible things happen. That's what happens in war. But I did find interesting, these people have been so happy, so maybe they were drugged up. There's crazy things happening over there. And one thing Israel is moving to do is they're going to flood the tunnels. Because they have so many miles of tunnels underground, they can't bomb them all. You're not going to get them all. Send troops down there. It's going to be a high death rate. So what do? You flood them. You're going to flood these tunnels. If you ever had gophers or vols or moles or anything in your yard, people try to put the hose down the hole, flood them out. They come popping out. You take care of them. They drown in there. Well, that's what they're going to do to Hamas. They're going to try to flood them out. So what they're going to do, they'll use the Mediterranean Sea, and they're going to use a series of pumps to pull water from the ocean or the sea, which is expected to provide enough water to fully flood the tunnels within weeks. So they're going to have to pump for weeks, try to flood it out, see who comes out, see if you can trap them, kill them in there. This here is a supposed a photo of the beach in the Mediterranean. These are, soldiers down here with a black pipe. Don't know if it's legit. I just found that someone claiming this was taken to show that they started doing this. But that's how Israel is going to proceed to try to get the tunnels, closed out and Hamas eradicated from there. And then basically try to make it a buffer zone between Gaza and Israel once they get it all cleaned up. We'll see if it works. We'll see what kind of humanitarian issues are caused. Will this cause cave-ins throughout Gaza? Will it ruin the land for farming because it's salt water, obviously? Is it going to ruin the water table for wells because you're pumping so much salt water in there? Could be a lot of humanitarian problems with this too. I don't know if Israel cares, but we're going to find out. Second to last story here. I found this pretty interesting also. This is out of Iran. They don't have an aircraft carrier. Basically, aircraft carrier these days are basically gigantic sitting ducks. Hypersonic missiles, drones, ballistic missiles. pretty much you can take out an aircraft carrier without flying planes to it. You can take it out from land-based systems, and they're just sitting ducks. They hold 80 to 100 planes on average. These aircraft carriers, kind of useless. They're just a big show force. It's like driving a big Cadillac around when you can drive around in a much smaller, faster car that can get you where you need to go, faster, better, whatever. They're just big obsolete devices right now, in my opinion. But Iran, they don't want an aircraft carrier. What they have is a drone carrier. This is the Shahid Bakiri, and it was a cargo vessel, and it's been modified, like I said, to work as a drone carrier. It's not in service yet, but it's going to be. Just imagine how many drones you can put on this thing. Like I said, 80 to 100 aircraft on an aircraft carrier, but you could put thousands and thousands of drones. You can do drone swarms out of these. In the back here, maybe you got all the guys on their joysticks flying these things around. This might be pretty good tactical. I mean, it came from an old cargo ship. It looks like a cargo ship. You mix it in with cargo ships. You fly a couple thousand drones out of it, and you don't care. You don't have to land them. You're not expecting them to come back because you're just kamikazing them in there. Maybe you have a couple come back that have missiles on it. But, hey, if we see these in the Persian Gulf, watch out. That's pretty ingenious use because, like I said, this is probably 2 or 3% the cost of an aircraft carrier, and you can have multiple of these around. I don't know. It seems like Iran's got some something up their sleeve for the aircraft carriers that are in the Persian Gulf right now. We'll see what happens. Lastly, a story to end on a good note. Sliding corn prices send grain index to decade low. This is great. So corn prices are tumbling to a 3-year low as mounting supplies from the U.S. and Brazil had a great crop. I know we talk about food shortages a lot, but corn is great. They use it, for ethanol. They use it for feed. There's a lot of corn. That's good news. Prices aren't going down. For you and me, the corn prices up. This is on the market side. They're wholesale buying, ethanol buying, hog, that. So maybe the feed will go down a little bit. Do we expect beef or pork or those prices to go down? Chicken? I don't know. You think it would? Maybe it'll just be profit taking. So I don't think you'll see prices go down. And this article, as it stretches on here, you can check it out on Zero Hedge yourself. It talks about the prices really aren't going down, but the fact that there's a lot of supply is good, and the fact that there won't be food shortages, hopefully. I know it's a big concern for a lot of preppers out there. So corn being plentiful is good. The fact that prices aren't going down is not good, and you have to pay more for it. But a little bit of good news that we're worried about corn and other food stuff causing shortages. But this is great because, like I say, corn is used in so many items. Not even for corn oil. You don't want to use the high fructose corn syrup. Very bad for you. A lot of people eat it, but they'll have some of it for those people that choose to do that. But everything they use corn for should have a good supply for at least a year, which is good news. So that's all I have for you today. But like I said, write in comments below for anything you have there, and what do you think of the new year coming? And until next time, keep your ear to the ground, head on a swivel.